From the nation's federal capital territory, every week we're trying to bring to your living rooms those events and issues, and indeed those characters that have formed the thoughts of many in the outgoing week. This is Abuja Dispatch, and my name is Adegboyega Arogodo.
The draft for the 2023 to 2025 medium-term expenditure framework has been submitted to the Federal Executive Council for ratification. Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning, Zainab Ahmed, stated this as part of the agenda at the latest Federal Executive Council meeting, which was presided over by President Muhammadu Buhari. She said the assumptions made for the next medium-term framework is that crude oil price will be at $70 per barrel per day for 2023, $66 per barrel per day for 2024, and $62 per barrel per day for 2025. Crude oil production is projected to be 1.69 million barrels per day for 2023 and 1.813 million barrels per day for both 2024 as well as 2025. Government is also projecting the size of Nigeria economy to rise up to 25.5 trillion naira, with 95% of these contribution by the non-oil sector, while the oil sector will be contributing only 5%. The opposition lawmakers in the Nigerian Senate staged a walkout during plenary over the prevailing security challenges bedeviling the country and the recent attacks on the Federal Capital Territory, calling for the impeachment of President Muhammadu Buhari. Shortly after resumption of plenary, after a closed-door session which lasted about 2.5 hours, Minority Leader of the Senate, Senator Philip Aduda, raised a point of order on impeachment of President Muhammadu Buhari, which was ruled out by the President of the Senate. This triggered the opposition to stage a walkout from the Red Chamber, address Senate correspondents about details of the closed-door session, and also gave the President 6 weeks to address the security challenges or risk impeachment. Meanwhile, Senate adjourned its activities to Tuesday, September 20, 2022. The House of Representatives on Wednesday urged the National Identity Management Commission, NIPSI, to redesign the national identity cards to include National Identity Number, NIN. This resolution followed the adoption of a motion of urgent public importance sponsored by Mr. Frederick Agbedi, PDP, Bayelsa State. Raising the motion, Agbedi noted that the NIN is used by the governments of many countries as a means of tracking their citizens' permanent and temporary residency for the purposes of work, among other reasons. Meanwhile, the House also mandated all its agriculture-related committees to interface with appropriate ministries and agencies, as well as international development partners, to begin the process of establishing and implementing protocols to manage food resources and mitigate an impending food crisis. The Nigerian Labour Congress, NLC, on Wednesday continued its protest in Abuja over the prolonged strike by university workers across the country. This comes a day after a similar demonstration was held in various states of the Federation except in the Federal Capital Territory. The protest began at about 9:30 a.m. after members of the NLC leadership and leaders of various affiliated unions, as well as members, converged on the Unity Fountain in the nation's capital. Among those physically present were NLC President Ayuba Waba, ASU President Professor Emmanuel Oshedeke, and the immediate past President of the Academic Union, Professor Biodun Ogunyemi, among others. The protesters marched to the National Assembly, where the NLC President Waba delivered a message from the labor unions to the lawmakers on the need to save the nation's tertiary education from total collapse by finding a lasting solution to the ongoing face-off between ASUU and the federal government.
Thank you for joining us on Split Views tonight on our program Abuja Dispatch. And on Split Views, we feature tonight a media and labor activist, Comrade John Bosco Agbakoro. You are welcome to our minister.
Thank you for having me.
Now, look at the ASUU strike. From 14th of February till now, the university education has been in comatose. Can you just briefly tell us what exactly are the origins, issues that culminated to this ongoing strike?
Okay, thank you. If you look at the history of ASUU strike or strike in the university sector in this country, it has been a very long one. But this present one, I think the crux of the matter is the 2009 agreement the federal government entered into with ASUU and other three university-based unions: Senior Staff Association of Nigerian Universities, SANU, Non-Academic Staff Union of the University, NASU, and the National Association of Academic Technologists. Federal government entered into agreement with them in 2009. And based on the content of the agreement, it has to be reviewed every 5 years, more of the welfare of the workers. But unfortunately really, federal government has not been able to review, this aspect of the agreement, which concerns primarily the welfare of workers. Of university, not only teachers, university staff, because we have two categories of staff there: teaching staff and non-teaching staff. Besides, again, there is this uproar or controversy over the issue of payment platform. University workers are complaining that since they were introduced into integrated payroll and personnel information system, IPs, they have been having a lot of problems. Some claim some months they receive lesser than what actually the amount should be. And in fact, generally, they can't even say this is the amount that's their salary. That's one of the problems. Now, ASUU, Academic Staff Union of Universities, decided to come up with a homegrown platform, what they call the University Transparency Accountability Solution, UTAS. They are telling government, hey, look, this IPPIS is a problem to us. It doesn't capture our peculiarities. Now we want UTAS to be used to pay us. Incidentally, again, because of the rivalry amongst unions in the universities, the non-teaching staff, especially the Senior Staff Association of Nigerian Universities, SANU, and the NASU, come up with their own payment platform, which they call the University Peculiar Personnel and Payroll System, U3PS. SANU and NASU work under one umbrella they call JAC. And they're claiming that, look, we are in charge of payroll. We are in charge of salary. We pay salary, the bursary, we payroll them. We should know the problems we are facing in salary payments. And now they came up with this, which they have also submitted. But remember, the problem there is the rivalry amongst various unions in the university.
Has said that the issues concerning the ongoing strike by ASUU, and other three university-based unions, is not as simple as Nigerians think. How difficult is it, to really resolve these issues?
If there is political will, it may not be too difficult. But yes, like the Minister of Information and Culture said, Alhaji Lai Mohammed, is a bit complex. Complex in the sense that, in this country, when a particular problem is addressed, especially as it concerns union, if you don't address other unions, address that problem holistically, others will come. So I remember when the Minister of Labor and Employment Senator Chris Ngige, said that addressing these problems in piecemeal will even aggravate the problem. So it's better we have it holistically. You see, I will say, my personal opinion, the problem you have in this country is that we don't, marshal out our priority. Education is very key to economic development. Education is very key. If a country wants to succeed or develop, it must give priority to education. But if you ask me my personal opinion, I don't think successive governments, not only this government, I don't think they have given priority to education. Now, coming to this complexity of this, it appears attention is primarily on ASU. But I'm telling you, if you eventually address ASU's problem alone, without addressing SANU, without addressing NASU, without addressing NAS, without addressing even ASU, Academic Staff Union of Polytechnics, colleges of education, and even the health sector, all these problems will be compounded.
Is it the Ministry of Education or Ministry of Labor and Employment, as it were? Because many people have been directing accusing fingers to the Minister of Labor, Chris Ngige, that is the real problem. What's going on?
I think it's maybe because so many people don't know the roles these two different ministries play. The Ministry of Labor or the Minister of Labor is the conciliator. He conciliates, arbitrator. Are you getting me? The Ministry of Education is the direct employer. Minister of Labor, Senator Chris Ngige, should be a neutral person when there is a problem. He mediates between the unions and the government. But I know why people are now, shifting the whole blame to the Minister of Labor is because people are now seeing him as a person who has taken over the whole process. It appears the Ministry of Education that is supposed to be in charge of this appears to be docile. Then the Ministry of Finance that is in charge of money that tells the unions or people this is exactly the financial position of government is not also talking. Then the arbitrator or the conciliator is the person now who is talking. In my own thinking, it's not supposed to be like that. He should be a neutral person. But because these other people are shying away from their responsibility, and it seems as if nobody from the side of government is talking, I think that is what is putting it in a way, or presenting it in a way, that the Minister of Labor is in charge of the whole process. No! Even during the negotiation, the Minister of Labor is not in charge. It should be either a committee or the Minister of Education. It is only when there are differences, disagreements, or crises, then the conciliator will now come and now say, hey, gentlemen, what's the problem? The two parties will present their problems. Now, as a conciliator, he will now look at the problems holistically without taking sides. Without taking side as a conciliator. That is where the problem now lies. People are now looking at him, going out of his own portfolio as a conciliator and taking responsibility of the whole process.
President of ASU, Professor Emmanuel Osedeke, said the only reason why the strike will be called off is if the federal government, agrees to the UTA's payments platform and concur with the 2009 treaty. How realistic or achievable do you think this position?
If government really wants, schools to, students to go back to school, they should review the 2009 agreements.
Those agreements, those issues in that agreement, are they really realistic?
Primarily, what they are asking for now, apart from revitalization fund, primarily it has to do with the welfare of workers. Hey, man, somebody look at the salary scale, the salary in the country. Do you think really what some of these people are being paid with, take care of their immediate needs, what more of the entire family? No. So government should review that payment package if government is serious. But the idea of UTAS, that is where some persons disagree with the university, with the unions, whether ASU or SANU. Why do they disagree? An employee cannot decide to the employer how he's going to be paid. Government came with IPPIS. Yeah, many people have been criticizing IPPIS, that it is causing hardship for the workers. The only thing is that, ASU has come with UTAS, non-teaching staff have come with U3PS. I think what government should do through NIDA is just to subject them to integrity tests, which they have done anyway, as a matter of fact. They have subjected these things to integrity tests. Even though we are told, we don't know how correct it is, that UTAS did not pass the integrity test completely. It's not that it did not pass everything, but that's what they claim. That's what they claim. And even there is even insinuation that U3PS is even stronger and better than the UTAS. But what I'm trying to say in effect is this: one, on the issue of agreement, government should review that 2009 agreement. Review the salary scale of university workers. But on the issue of payment platform, I don't actually know how possible an employee will decide for the employer how he's going to be paid. Yeah, if you are having problems, if government is honest, hey man, what is the problem? What problem are you having? Then they bring this problem, they look at it, analyze the problem, and then see how to solve the problem. But to say or compare your employer, this is how I want you to pay me, hey man, I don't know how many employers will have said that.
The way the strike actions are used as major means of getting demands met in the Nigerian universities, it's a major concern to many people. This current strike has taken a lot of tolls, on the educational sector, on the students, on the parents. In your own estimations, what are those areas of impact, negative impacts now, do you think, that the country has really suffered? Some of us know this, but from an expert like you.
You see, there is this argument, when the strike started, the minister had to stop the salary of workers based on a no work, no pay policy, One, some of these lecturers, worker staff are suffering to start with. They're not being paid. Now, any environment you have a university, the community, some of them eat through some of the things they sell. Some of the communities are suffering. Are you getting me? Even some of these lecturers, I doubt if they will do a kind of orientation for themselves. Because not all of them will be doing research and other things. They'll be running away their time. And something in the education sector, if you stop upgrading your knowledge at a given point in time, you will still having problem. So you also, on them also, there is a problem. I attended a function where all the registrars of the Nigerian universities, when they had their meeting, some of them started lamenting. Some of their members are selling cement and other things. But the danger there is, if they test money from this business, even the lecturers, they test money from the business they are doing now. When they go back, when they call off the strike, then you discover that they will pay more attention to that business that is giving them good money.
Even students now.
Students, you see, the students are the worst.
The worst hit.
Okay. Look at it from this standpoint. Federal government invoked no work, no pay policy. Assuming they call off the strike tomorrow, assuming the face-off is reconciled, are they going to pay lecturers or university staff that didn't work? In our country, we know how to twist people. So, if they are paid this money within this period, do the students go to school? Who is bearing the brunt? Now, you are paying person. Yes, maybe the problem may have come from government that failed to do what it was supposed to do ab initio. But now, these people have gone on strike, and now, since February 14, till now, students don't go back to school. Are they going to be paid when they come back? Are they going to be paid? Now, the parents themselves, they were expecting their children to graduate at a particular given point in time. That thing is not possible any longer. So it's many people, they are victims, but primarily, parents and students are the main victim in this strike.
After Tuesday's briefing from the relevant MDAs, I think the president had directed the education minister to resolve every stalemate with ASU within the next 2 weeks and report back to him. Now, do you think there is hope at the end of the tunnel for a positive and agreeable resolution, to this whole lockdown among these parties?
Everything depends on the political will. If the government has political will, if the government is sincere, then if the unions should drop their extreme positions, it will be resolved. Political will in the sense that, people complain, government complains that the economy is not in good shape based on the effect of COVID-19, based on the effect of Russia-Ukraine war, that economy is not as it's supposed to be. Will the government be sincere to Nigerians and tell them the position of the economy? Will the government sit down with the unions and tell them, hey, man, this is the problem we are facing? Are you getting me? If government will be sincere with them and tell them this is what we are facing and propose something meaningful, it may not be to the satisfaction of the unions. Are you getting me? But propose something meaningful for them to go back to school. So what I'm saying in effect is if there is political will on the side of government, to resolve this crisis, it must be resolved. And government giving directive to the Minister of Education, not being issued, that's the person that should be in charge. But people are complaining that the minister is nowhere to be found. And that is what makes it as if the Minister of Labor has hijacked, let me use the word hijacked the process. So if that is the political will, it will not even take more than 1 week. It's tell the unions the financial position of the country. Tell them what you are offering them. Yeah, they're supposed to be paid well. Tell them what you are offering them. Look, these are people that mold the people that produce, that take care of the economy of the country. And like I said initially, the country cannot develop without the students, without these teachers who mold them. And remember, when they are graduating, they will be found worthy in character and in learning.
Comrade Don Bosco Agbakuro is a media and labor activist, and he has been our guest tonight on Split Views. Thank you for your time, sir.
Thank you for having me.
The council has seen it necessary to inform the general public that fighting this type of asymmetric conflict is a collective effort. It's not something that should be confined to only the security, intelligence, and law enforcement agencies. When we keep saying whole of society approach, whole of government approach, to get a whole of nation approach, what it means is that everybody has to partake in this enterprise. The truth is that no country can ever overcome the difficulties of an asymmetric conflict by virtue of the fact that the enemy of the state is embedded within the population, within the wider society. It is true that the local people are averse, they're scared, they're worried, and there's no confidence. That is understandable. But without their support, without their cooperation in terms of giving information, it makes it very hard for the operational elements.
That is our package tonight on Abuja Dispatch. For further information, comments, and suggestions, you can reach us out on any of our various social media platforms. Thank you for sharing your precious moment with us tonight on Abuja Dispatch. A week from now, we'll bring you another refreshing package. Same time, same station. Adegboyega Arogoda is my name. Have a good night.